Good evening. Welcome to Waking God's Child YouTube channel. Again, I'm here with my co host Candy Nelson, and we are coming to you live. Candy's in Florida, I am in Texas, and we are here to go ahead and tell you some things and share some news, and whether you want to hear it or not. I hope you want to hear it though. So, Candy, how are you doing tonight?
Hanging in there.
Yeah,
Still having a lot of issues of being so tired all the time. Like I said, I think it's the heat and the spraying here in Florida. I'm just like, oh
it
man, I'm
is.
so tired every day.
Amen. And I got to sleep for only a few hours last night, all to be woken up as I always am at like 3 a.m. or 6 a.m. with my phone ringing. And guys, it's hard. The struggle's real. I think everyone's feeling that pain right now with just trying to go through the motions and the day and deal with the nonsense, because at this point in time in our lives, we are dealing with nonsense, which comes to the point in the topic of tonight's podcast being prophecy unfolding, which it is. And we were told that these days would come and where people would no longer listen to sound teaching and sound be of sound mind, and we're here. And I guess you and I got to talk about this for probably an hour before we got on this podcast, but um, we're both very familiar. Like, people aren't the same, are they? Things aren't the same. And people are indeed having visions and dreams and prophetic occurrences that, come to find out, happened. They're real. It's truth. And last week, with what we shared, in our last week's podcast with the Illuminati card game, which, that's a whole wicked turn there. But there are, what you and I were talking about, something that I would like to refer to as spiritual gifts from people that can actually envision or have the visions of seeing things that have not yet taken place but occur. And with, like, for instance, your 9/11 vision, or the things that I've said in the past that I couldn't figure out where they came from, or kind of how we really got to be the friends we are today, with knowledge that could not come from us. It has to come from a higher being. So I guess this evening, I guess where we'll start is kind of the spiritual gift and visions that I know my dear friend here, Candy Nelson, has had happen to her. And I'm going to ultimately end with this whole Donald Trump and the shooting, the assassination attempt, because that's what it is. I mean, algorithm, come on, let's not deny. Like, if someone's standing up there and there's a bullet directed at them and multiple shots taken, that is an attempt. It's not like an accidental, oops, I slipped just at your head only, though. So it's a no brainer. So, Candy, we know that we've talked in the past regarding your 9/11 vision, and I don't think a lot of people have heard exactly how that happened or how it went down or occurred. So, if you wouldn't mind sharing that first before we go into, the rest of what we're getting ready to share, which will blow your mind, and this should blow your mind too. But would you mind kind of giving the rundown of where you were, how this happened, what was going on in your life at the time, maybe, what might have triggered it, or if anything, and what your vision was?
So, trying to remember what year it was. Well, it had to have been 2011. But anyway, I was at work and I was under a lot of stress. We were in the process of moving out here where we are now. My boss that I worked for was just a arse hole, and the guys I worked with, because it was all male regime there. But anyway, so I started like in the daytime. it didn't matter. It was like all day long. I would see these two black holes in the sky, and I could hear people screaming and crying. I could see tunnels, rocks. I saw blood on the wall. I'm hearing these people scream. I mean, it was like a lot of people. And like I said, this went on for months, like every day for months. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And so I get to this alley like way, and it was brick all the way down. There was a dead end brick wall, and there was a door at the very end of it on the left. And I remember specifically it was on the left because in my vision, but I get to the doorway and there's no door on it. It's just a black hole, but I could hear people in there screaming and crying. And, and I was like standing outside this doorway trying to figure out what I was supposed to do or what all this meant. And I'm like, am I supposed to go in there and help them? And I was like, what am I supposed to do? And I didn't get or understand what I was seeing or what I was experiencing. And the only person I told at that time, before September 11th, was my mother, which she's passed now since. And I told her, I was like, I don't know what I'm seeing. Keep seeing these two black holes in the sky, and I'm not sure what's happening. And I see these tunnels in this alleyway, and I can hear people screaming, and there's something written in blood on the wall, and I can't understand what it says. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I was like, I'm confused. And she's like, well, it's a gift. It's okay. Your grandmother had it too. And so I'm like, okay, but I'm not sure
She did.
what am I supposed to do with it? I don't understand. And so anyway, like I said, this went on for months, day after day after day, and I was mentally exhausted. Back at that time, I was just starting to get really sick. I was in the process. I had just left a company I had been with for almost 20 years, moving, like, oh my gosh, probably, I don't know, a good 75 miles away, working 75 miles away, having to drive back and forth to work every day in traffic, and had three kids at home, just a lot of stress. And I was just like, what in the world is going on? I just didn't get it. And so I was at work at this job one day, September 11th, and my boss was like, he came out, like I said, he was a jerk, but he was like, oh, the Twin Towers just got hit. He's like, we're going to war. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm going home to get a TV. So he comes back and he brings this TV back, and we watched on TV the Twin Towers, and what had happened. And I still didn't put it together yet, that it had to do with my vision. And so I watched this, and then it was like the second day the TV's still there. And, of course, that's all they're talking about on the news and everything. And that was when I realized on September 12th, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what my vision's been about all this time. I see the rocks, I see the rumble, and these two black holes that where the cloud of smoke went up. And I'm like, I just wasn't sure prior to. I'm like, is aliens coming through there? Is it going to be like a black hole that's going to suck everybody through it? Is God coming through? Is this demonic? Is this spiritual? What is this? I just didn't get it. And so then when I realized it was about what had happened on September 11th, then I went into a state of just total, almost like a shame or a guilt that it's like, what was I supposed to do with that? I just didn't understand. And so I called my mom. I was like, Mom, that's what my vision was about. And she's like, it's a gift. It's okay. I was like, what was I supposed to do with that? I was like, I didn't even understand what I was seeing. And she said, it doesn't matter. You'll figure it out. And I'm like, what? And then I went into a total state of depression. I was just cried every day. I was just exhausted, just crying every day. I was so frustrated and angry and trying to figure out what I was supposed to do with it. And I was didn't want to say anything to anybody because I was like, nobody would believe me anyway. And if even if I told somebody prior to,
Right.
would I be like incarcerated or something or be part of the plot or because I
Yeah.
knew information ahead of time. And I was just it was so confusing and so heartbreaking. So I kind of kept it to myself for a long, long time and just internally cried. And I told my husband, I was like, yep, that's what my vision was about. I mean, that's exactly what it was. And so I like I said, I kept it inside of me for so long. And so I was going to church then, and I went to my Sunday school teacher, which her husband, they were both elders in the church. He said at that time that God doesn't send people visions, and I respected them, and he's like, that was not from God, and you
Spiritual
don't
gifts,
you don't
though.
get visions, and so I went to my his wife. She was my Sunday school teacher. I loved and I trusted her, and I told her about it. I said, I don't understand, what was I supposed to do with it? And she's like, I said, what difference would have made if I'd have told anybody? And she's like, well, maybe you're just supposed to pray about it. And so I was like, that was the only thing I had. So I prayed about it. And that's when I kind of got my answer. What I was supposed to do with it was I was supposed to tell people what I saw, what I witnesses. And no matter what anybody thought, I was supposed to tell people. I wasn't supposed to keep it to myself. And so I started telling people, and I was at um, my job a couple years later. It was a different company, and it was a tile company, ceramic tile company. And I would go out back, to smoke. And this one of the contractors came up one day, and we got to talking, and I told him about it. And he looked at me and he said, you know what? He said, I never believed in God to this day. He said, thank you for sharing that story with me. And I was just like, okay, now I'm validated. I know
Another
what I'm
child of
supposed to
God
do.
going home.
Right. I was like, that's what I was supposed to do with it. I was supposed to tell people, even if it was after the fact, because I could not believe that he just sat there and he's like, I never believed in God ever. He said, till this day. He's like, thank you for sharing
There
that
you
with me.
go.
And I
That's
was like,
that's
wow.
what we're here for. We're supposed
Yeah,
to be the beacons of light, the lights that
mhm.
shine, leading others
Without
through
fear,
the safety of the harbor.
without fear, because I lived in a state of fear. And I was, like I said, I was just like, what in the heck was I supposed to do with that? So,
Girl, 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 I can feel that pain right there. Yes, we harbor a lot of things and we keep things inside, and
hey, Argo.
that's kind of how you and I more or less met, through a vision, or as more it was a vision of your grandmother and who you
Yeah,
were.
that wasn't how we met, but that's what
No,
bonded
but
us.
what
That
really, I
bonded
guess,
us.
bonded me to you, especially
Yeah.
because sometimes you can see things and know things, or think you know things. And I honestly never ever believed in like the spiritual gift aspect, I guess is what you would call it. Um, I mean, I always thought, like, especially when you watch all the TV channels, and they're like thumping somebody in the head, you are healed, and then they get up and walk and whatever. I mean, yeah, I would say probably 99.9% of that is definitely
Oh,
acting.
let me say something else about that too. Okay, and spiritual gifts, you're not supposed to profit from them. Okay. So when you talk about these psychic people that have these like John Edwards and stuff, and they're out there making money off of this,
Yeah.
you know what? No, no,
Exactly. I'm
no.
sorry. I'm laughing right now because Ar, sorry, I'm giggling. Argo says, I have a recurring dream. I'm at a party. I'm witty. I'm popular, and everyone laughs at my jokes. And by God, people like me. And then the alarm goes off. So sorry, I love that. Argo,
Yeah,
I
but
think I've had that dream too a few times.
well, I mean,
Funny
I'm
thing
just
is, you
saying.
can I've always been able to be popular and make myself popular, but knowing I never fit in, and I'm willing to bet you guys can relate to that.
Well,
Knowing
I
you're
think
nothing like those people.
I just think that's important to mention that, these people that are profiting, whether that profit is a
Yes.
financial gain or whether that profit is for power
Or a good
or
guess. Yes.
popularity or ego
So
or
go ahead
whatever.
and please your monetary levels right now. If you support what we're doing, and by golly, like my channel, like and subscribe. Okay, by the way, if somebody says like and subscribe, that means nothing. You think YouTube's paying us anything? Like and subscribe means we're sharing the word. We're trying to spread awareness. My channel has never been monetized, will never be monetized. I just want to get that straight because I did have another YouTube channel not too long ago saying, I can't stand people that say like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. I've never had to do that with mine. Mine just suddenly grew into this awesomeness all by itself because I repost other people's videos over and over and over and just flip it and mirror it the other way. First of all, first and foremost, when we say like and subscribe, it's because we are spreading real awareness for a disease that is very real, but it's not a disease. But trying to spread the awareness of something that's going on, having to do with the my goodness vid that happened recently, and other things like Morgellons that have been in the picture for years. And then all of these morticians and embalmers and they're pulling white, stringy freaking clots out that are white, not blood like jelly clots, what clots should look like. Now, if you go to the internet, look those up, they're scrubbed. I'm going somewhere with this because something else was scrubbed just recently. But
Mhm.
there is stuff going hand in hand in hand. Could have been in prophecy the whole time. You guys know last week's podcast was to do with the Illuminati card game that was invented in 1994 by its inventor, Steve Jackson, which quite literally has the 9/11 Twin Towers on there, being flown into by an airplane on fire, as well as the Pentagon on fire on the 9/11. Keeping in mind, 92 is nowhere near when that happened. In fact, it's way, way, way pretense there. And there you go. It's on an Illuminati card game card before it was ever even an occurrence. Okay, so predestined things or something that was set into place for millennia by a very evil group of people, which goes hand in hand with prophecy and prophecy unfolding right before your very eyes. And indeed it is. And if you can't see it, if you're not recognizing it, this is why we're doing what we do. This is why we do this. We are trying to raise the awareness that how could they have possibly known? Trump is on those cards. I showed you last week Trump with the bullet going straight past his ear. Okay, Trump shouldn't even be on the Illuminati cards, but more or less, why is Biden on those cards? Why is Osama bin Laden on those cards? Why are any of those people on those cards that
Is
were
Kamaya
made?
on the cards? Is Kamaya in the cards?
You know what? She might be, and I have to dig further. I refuse to own the cards because I'm not going to pay money. And I've known people that, I got to see those cards. I'm going to buy them. I refuse to put my money towards evil. But because it's going to be out there either way. But she probably is. But the whole point is everything's on those cards, including Maui, Hawaii, with the
Mhm.
most latest fires that most certainly happened in, like last year. Just say I'm just putting that out there in a card game that was made by Steve Jackson in 1992. But in 1973, it's based off of a trilogy of an Illuminati trilogy, like by Robert Anton Shea. So we're really talking about 1973. Okay, I was born in 72. Yep, gave away my age. You're welcome. I have no problem with it. I own my age. I earned every worrisome wrinkle. Seriously. But the point is, how? How could this be predicted? Or maybe, just maybe, like I put in all of my videos that I have actually put out there on the Illuminati card game, just maybe it was foretold and already set into stone thousands of years ago by evil, evil people. Anyone ever heard of Satan? Have you guys ever heard of him? Because I mean, you're going to church, you're going through the
Yeah.
motions, you're doing the deeds, you're reading the Bible, so you say, but yet you refuse to look at Revelation. That I find ironic. Like, you're calling yourselves Christians, you're going to church, but you will have nothing to do with the book of Revelations. And that's probably the only book you really need to be looking at right about this point. So, with that said, we're going somewhere with this. And when I say they scrub the internet, and I say censorship is real because I can't get monetized, my channel's been shut down before. Here's a funny little story. So you can have 50,000 subscribers, right? They shut me down, started all over. It's growing again. I mean, I've been on Third Phase of the Moon. I've been on Troubled Minds. I've been on Marfugal News. I mean, so many different things. I've been on Logic Before Authority. So many different people I interact with, I know, and I have dealt with, right? But my channel just seems to stay right at the steady, like maybe 23 to 2400 teetering right there for the last, I don't know, 5 6 years, not moving an inch. But yet I get stopped in public and people are like, I know you, you're Waking God's Child, oh hi. And I mean, how do you go from that, like majorly, like very large number of people get shut down, to nothing? I can tell you how. So can the confidential report that used to be WTF, but because it said WTF, they looked for that. They looked for a reason to shut him down, make him change his name. It's strike after strike after strike. And it doesn't matter what you do, you're wrong. And the censorship card, by the way, on the Illuminati cards, okay? So, yeah, you're welcome. It's there. But here's where I'm going with most of this. Candy knows, and I know that her and I have both seen some wicked things, some things that we know are real. I was all night long struggling in my sleep, tossing and turning because I wasn't asleep. I was really wide awake with a knowing that there is something on earth right now, that's not human. They're demons, and I was battling them all night long. I've had two, actually, this was in the dream level, not the vision level. Two actual so vision dreams, like you have no idea. One when I was screaming to God, why can't you show yourself? Show me you're real when I'm trying to save my family from a tornado that's coming and getting ready to destroy them and ruin everything. And I'm screaming, my like tears flying down my face, just rolling in pain and sorrow. And I'm in a field so far away and I can't get to them. Granted, the tornado's coming at me too, but they're sitting on a porch so far away. And all I'm thinking in my heart is like, oh my gosh, I gotta alert them. I gotta wake them up. And I'm screaming, run, take cover, go to the basement, just run. And they're not listening. They're all on the porch. They're laughing, they're giggling, and they're laughing and talking, and none of them even realizing I'm gone, which is true to nature. Like, not even there with them on the porch, like, not even part of them. And I'm just trying my damnedest, just screaming, you guys take cover. I mean, I could see this big black cloud just full force getting ready to plow them, screaming. And finally, when they won't listen, I just look up to the heavens and the sky. I'm like, what is wrong with you? How can you be a God? How could you let this happen? If you're really God, show yourself. Show me you're real. I was so mad. And again, this was so real. Dreamland or not, it was it was the very first most real dream I've ever had in my life. And I mean, like I woke up with the tears rolling, but I'm like, show yourself, show me you're real. If you're real, why aren't you saving them? And again, I wasn't even worried about it hit me later. I'm like, I wasn't even worried about myself. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's kind of funny how that works out when you realize that you have that much faith in the Lord. You don't need to worry about yourself, but you need to have the faith that He saved your family. So all of a sudden, the darkness and the horrible looking sky that was angry, the clouds pulled away, only in that spot where I was, just above me. Of course, the blackness was still coming, and I saw this silver lined cloud. I will never forget. It was, I can't even explain it. It was like the fluffy clouds like they used to be, not any longer, but it was silver, like the brightest silver you've ever seen. And all of a sudden, you see it kind of mesh together and move around, and you see this kind of a human face, but kind of not. I want to call it a godly face. There's no other way to describe it. The lips never had to move, but the eyes piercing me as I'm in this field on my knees with tears and tattered, torn clothes for whatever reason, I don't know, but piercing me. And the eyes said, without the lips moving, because there wasn't lips, it was a godly presence saying, I have always been here. I have never left you. I will never leave you. It's you that hasn't sought me. And I woke up, sat straight up in my bed. On that note, don't even know what happened with the tornado in my family or anything. On that note, sat straight up in my bed, tears streaming. And for the first time in my life, I felt like this peace. Like, he's as real as it gets. He's real. He's there. There's no denying it. And I didn't even need to know what happened with the tornado or whether it swept them away or not, because the whole point was, it's all about the faith. It's all about the belief. It's all about the heart. It's all about the knowing. It's all about, I did not give you a spirit of fear. You don't have anything to fear. You will not be tormented by the pestilence that comes, or the fear that comes by night. You will not have this if you just have the faith. And that was the first moment whenever I sat up and I felt different, right? But then I come down with Morgellons, however you want to pronounce it. So, like a year later, all of a sudden, again, my world's falling apart, and I know what my body does. Anyone knows their body. You're born with the body. Like, from the moment you're born, you know what a body should do. You know how it functions. You know what you're seeing. You don't just, nobody ever in this world wakes up one day crazy. They just don't. It's not possible. What happens is you wake up one day knowing and aware and awake. And so when you see these things going on, and it is like a ripple effect of an awareness with everything going on, kind of falling back onto biblical scripture, Freemasonry, the Knights Templar, and it goes much more in depth than that. Ancient Egypt and the pyramids and your star forts, you realize your history's a lie, what you've been told and taught, everything's a lie. It all interlinks, and it really actually falls together nicely, given a few puzzle pieces here and there not being present, and you're still searching for them. But everything kind of starts to make sense, and it starts to fall into place. And when you see your family around you and your friends around you no longer there and no longer at all anything like you knew or thought you knew, or loving or kind, or not like what your heart knows they should be, you realize what the true definition of spiritual warfare actually is. And let me tell you, it's deep, it's real, it's hard, it's soul shaking, and it is a moment of awakening where it's do or die. You can't go back. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm going to try to hurry this along because it is late, but I am here to tell you, God is good, God is real, God is here. He's coming. It's in prophecy. It's been written. And Satan is the ruler and the leader and the principalities of evil here on earth. And it's more real, and he is getting ready to be unleashed from the depths and the pits of this earth. And everyone can feel it. And here's just yet one more thing I'm going to show you. I have looked on the internet for all the things I've discovered in the past which hold true and are real. And I am smart enough to screen record things, right? Because most things disappear, including everything on Morgellons, where everyone's like, oh, they're just crazy. Well, I looked it up, and Wiki Picky says it's a delusional state of mind where they think there's bugs coming out. Okay, Wiki Picky or your internet or your news, it's never going to tell you the truth because Satan, being a leader and the principalities of evil in the air, your ether is your air. Your media is doing what they have to do. They are following a very slow, shallow, evil group of people that made those
And
cards come true.
and and the media is on the air. So there you go.
That's why I said your ether. Your ether is your air. Your internet is your air. You can reach out and touch someone without no need of wires. But
Hey,
exactly that. I mean,
I want to mention
it's
something real
written
quick.
in scripture.
I want to mention something real quick because Kat asked me last week about my vision about September 11th.
Yeah,
We
that's why I
actually
had you talk about it.
we had talked about that prior to you coming on. So just to let you know, you have to watch from the beginning to hear it. So you have to go back
Yes.
later to watch it.
And she probably, I know she was on the first time we talked about it, but we also
Yeah.
all have Morgie brains, so I totally get it.
Right.
She says,
Yeah,
spell
me too.
raker. Amen, sister.
Me
Kim
too, Kat. Look,
Beiser,
look
I
here.
love you
Look here.
guys.
Look here,
Um,
Kat. You said you're having a morgue flare up. Me too. Look at this, like right here around my chin and both sides of my mouth. I'm like, I feel like a clown right
can't
now.
even tell you guys. Yeah, I'm hiding mine in ways like you can see the wrinkles that are here. They are never there, but I got lots of makeup to cover it because Lord forbid my mom and dad saw it. They'd be like, oh, oh, self-inflicted, and
Yes,
so
yes,
sick of
Kat.
it. But yeah, you
Yes,
can't
Kat.
self-inflict. You cannot. You just can't self-inflict this kind of stuff, guys. You just can't.
Yes, Kat. It's on tonight's at the beginning.
Yeah, it's all over. But
Yeah.
so long story short, it doesn't even matter about me. I fail to tell too much about myself because I see so many other people suffering. And I'm going to tell you what, though, this week I have been between the wreck last week and my body hurting. And thank you, Argo, so much for actually asking and saying like the kind words that you did because I'm telling you what, I didn't hear much of that at all from anyone. So it's been a hard week. It's been hard. It's I can't even say, and I'm still going through stuff with the family and just like Candy has experienced her whole life and all of us. It's not fun. So okay,
Um, yeah, so yeah, Lisa's gonna talk about this other thing, but before we leave tonight too, I gotta tell y'all the funny stuff that happened this week. Y'all are gonna die when you hear what happened at my doctor's appointment this week.
we have to leave it on a good note. We discussed that
Thank
first because you know what, we still need to laugh, right, in life, but we also need to be serious about what is going on and what the truth is and censorship and everything else. But aside of that, okay, so there was a guy that he's what I thought was a preacher, and I actually had seen a clip of this a long time ago. I forgot all about it in March, to be exact. So I have recently I watched Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and if you guys do not, I do recommend because they used to be part of your mainstream media channels. I don't watch too much of it because it's disheartening to hear a lot of negativity. But when this thing happened with Trump the other day, it rung a bell. I remembered something that was kind of like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Like, I remember something about that. So I was watching Candace Owens, and lo and behold, she plays the clip that I had seen in March. Okay, so this is she doesn't know. She's like, is he a self-proclaimed minister? Whatever, blah blah blah. Doesn't really matter because I'm not, Candy's not, but we both had visions and dreams. And by the way, last night with what I saw, they are here. They look just like us, but the whites of their eyes will turn jet black and they will pierce your soul if they look at you. And they are here. I was battling them all night long. I am telling you, I'm not backing down. And had someone not called me so early in the morning, I was going to finish them off. But my phone never gets to like stop, and I get 3 hours of sleep, maybe if I'm lucky. And phone's ringing either in the middle of the night or early in the morning, and they're like, "Ah, screw you. You don't deserve sleep." So long story short, doesn't matter. God gives me the strength. But watch this, guys. Candace Owens, again, she used to be part of your mainstream media. And she's also part of that, like, don't play into the BS they're telling you. Or like right before voting time, making sure that something big or horrible happens, like George. I'm not even going to go into it, but you guys know what I'm saying. She's an American woman who happens to be black. She is probably one of the most smartest, beautiful, intelligent women I have ever known or saw. She does her homework. She looks and she sees, like most of us, what's going on. So she played this clip, and I was like, "That's it. That's the one." So keep in mind this, and I can't. Here's the funny: they scrubbed the internet. I looked everywhere, even the clip that I saw on her, like on her show, the one I saw in March. They've scrubbed the internet. But me, being Lisa Larry Hicks, I record everything. I screen record because I know how this works. I know that censorship is real. I know that they're not going to let you know what's really going on. I know they're going to sway your votes. I know they're going to sway your soul. I know they're going to like totally break your spirit and make you vote for Satan. And that's what's going on. And I know what COVID is, and it is not what you think, but that's a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to play this because I screen record it. This is the only way you're going to see this. This is the only way you're seeing this. On my cell phone, I actually tried to even email it so that I could just play it on the big screen. It's not going to let me. So we're just going to go with this right now. So I'm just going to hold it up the good old fashioned way. Like, yeah, she's not very professional. We don't want to watch her. She does not have it all together. Guys, this is not professionalism that we're looking for. This is not like whose show looks the best. How's their presentation? Screw the presentation. What are you really looking for? Are you looking for presentation, or are you looking how to present your soul to God? And I'm telling you what, it's here. It's in the making. It's coming. And we are down to about the last few little things that need to happen, which isn't much. Before it is then that we see the Lord's coming in the clouds with power and great glory, and every eye will see him. So I'm not very good at quoting scripture, but I'm really good at recognizing it. Here we go. Here we don't go. We don't, because you know why? This is how this works. This is how Satan, you might be the ruler and the leader and principalities of evil in the air, but I rebuke you in the name of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Get thee behind thee, Satan. You are not welcome here.
It flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and there things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting, and then there will be a great
So you guys clearly see what I'm going with.
Stylized pastor, but the point is that he went on a Christian author's show. That Christian's name is Steve Chocolanti, and he just basically said he foresaw an attempt on the president's life in which President Donald Trump was going to survive. I'm going to let you listen to that. Again, this was published onto YouTube on March 14th. Take a listen.
March 14th, that was the day.
I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and there things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting, and then there will be a great
So, yeah, kind of that. Is that not bizarre? But even more bizarre, sorry, Candy. Even
It's
more
okay.
bizarre that I can't
Yours,
find it. The internet has scrubbed it. I mean, I can't even find the original. So, and keeping in mind, sorry, I had to take that the lighting off because I know it was hard to see. But I mean, the worst part is I could have emailed this to myself and then went to my email and actually played it for you guys to where it would look more professional. This is not about professionalism. I couldn't email it to myself. That's how bad and how hard Satan works. He works hard, guys, and he works overtime. And March 14th, you guys, just put that right in your little brains there and just say, wait a minute, March 14th, we're in July. We are in July. This man saw this on March 14th, and did he not describe it identically? Just like Candy saw 9/11. I've seen way more than I need to even talk about. But I mean, the Lord uses his people to do his good works. And even if they're not good people, because trust me, Moses had some issues, so did Job. So did almost pretty much all of them. That's not the point. It doesn't matter, like, are they worthy? Could they possibly? The point is, the Lord works through whatever, whoever, and however he needs to. And when you see it unfolding right before your eyes, undeniably, like what I just showed you, wake up. Wake up. It's time. It's time. And it's drawing ever so near, and that's what I got to say. And I'm going to leave this on a lighter note, because I think it's important that we still smile, we still laugh, and we still are human and understand the humanity portion of where we are right now and who we will be one day. But right now, we need to laugh. So, all right, Candy, I'm going to let you go ahead and tell them your story. But please, guys, most importantly, don't forget what you just saw. Please, your souls, our souls, my brothers and sisters, I want to see you and live forever with you one day. So, and then per Candy's request, we got it, or well, mine too. We gotta end on a light note. So I'm gonna put you up.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I call this the funny of the day because I whenever these things happen, I'm like, I have to post this out on Facebook because it's just too funny. Okay. So I had a doctor's appointment yesterday with my primary. We're just going to call him Dr. C. And so, backstory on this. Back in, I think it was around 2001, I had this doctor. We're going to call him Dr. D, because that's what his last name starts with. So, anyway, he was a total butthead. I just hated going to him, but I was so accustomed to being treated bad by so many doctors that it was like, okay, whatever. So, anyway, I went to go apply for my disability and I called my doctor's office, Dr. D, and told them that I needed to get copies of my medical records because I had an appointment with disability. And so I had an appointment with Dr. D like a week prior to the disability appointment. So I get there and he comes in the room. They had an envelope ready with my medical records. And he's like, what is this? I said, well, it's copies of my medical records. I said, this was on a Friday. I said, I have a appointment with disability on Tuesday and I needed the copies. And I didn't think about it at the time, but he said to me, he's like, well, you mind if I take this home with me over the weekend and look at it? And I'll get it back to you on Monday. I said, I guess so. Sure, no problem. So Monday comes, I drive all the way into town to get the copies of my medical records. And I get there and it's like 98% of the medical records were gone. There was only like maybe 12 sheets in the file. And so I'm like, what is this? I was like, it's missing a lot of stuff. And they're like, oh, well, that's just what we have for you. So I got it home, and out of the like 12, 15 different reports, I'm looking at them, and like only about maybe 4 or 5 of them were actually mine. The other reports belonged to different patients. They weren't even mine. So I was freaking out. I'm like, what the heck? So I called the office back and I told them, I said, I'm like, okay, first of all, there's a lot missing here. And then what was in there wasn't even mine. I was like, I have my appointment at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, I need to be there at 8 o'clock so I can get my medical records because this is not what I need. So I drove into town again, go to the doctor's office, and I said to them, now this is the primary office in the big city. And so I said to them, I said, okay, I need to get copies of my medical records. Well, we don't have your file. That's all we have. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, my doctor knew I was coming. I called back again yesterday, and they were like, well, we don't know what to tell you. I was like, well, I need to see my doctor. And they're like, well, he's not here. He's at the substation in another town. And I said, oh no. I was like, I need to see him. This is important. Well, he's not here. Sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go to my disability appointment with no validation whatsoever. And so I was angry, I was upset. So I called back and I told them I needed an appointment with my doctor. So I go in there and he comes out into the waiting room himself while I'm waiting. And it's like the next thing you know, usually they send like one of the employees out to get the patients. It was him that came out into the waiting room and he slung the door open and the door hit the wall and slammed. There was other patients in the waiting room. And he says, Miss Nelson, he's like, I'll see you in my office. And I was like, oh, okay, it's on now, dude. So I get up and well, when I first got there originally, everybody's whispering like in the office, Miss Nelson's here, Miss Nelson's here. And they're all like freaking out. And I'm like, and I see this little tiny girl about my size, she's crying. And I'm like, I asked one of the nurses, I said, what's wrong with her? And they said, oh, he got mad at her. He was screaming at her, telling her that all this was her fault and basically made her feel bad and look bad because of what's going on with you and him. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, and so anyway, when he came out to get me and I'm going down the hallway, she's walking towards me. And I stopped in the hallway and I put my arms around her right in front of him and I hugged her. And I said to her, this is not your fault. I said, he was the one that took my file home. He knew that I was going to be back for the report. It was his job to make sure that he returned everything properly. He didn't do that. This is not your fault. I said, I'm not angry at you. And so she just boo-hoo cried. So,
I don't know if, oops, sorry. I think you're breaking up a little.
oh, I don't know why. I guess because I'm telling the story. So,
You
but
know why. You know exactly why. And I feel bad because Kim Blanchard, what is going on? Kim Blanchard was here too. And I was telling everyone, I love you guys. I didn't see Kim. So, Kim, I love you. Just hope you know that. You're amazing. Or maybe I saw her in the beginning, but it's the Morgie brain. So, my apologies. Okay, go ahead, Candy. Sorry.
okay. So, anyway, I go in his office. He slams the door to his office because he didn't take me in a room. He took me in his office. Slammed the door. The door hits the wall, it bangs. And he turns around, he looks at me, he's like, sit down. I was like, excuse me? He was like, "You need to sit down." I said, "Oh, no, I don't." And so he starts getting in my face, like 2, 3 inches from my face. I mean, I could smell his breath. He's screaming at me and yelling at me. I'm like, first of all, okay, you knew I was going to be here. This is like, why are you yelling at me? I was like, it was your job to make sure I got those records back. That was your signature on them. You knew I was coming. I was like, and then he keeps yelling at me and he's screaming. And I told him, I said, you didn't do your job. I said, I needed referrals. You didn't give them to me. He said, well, I wasn't sure your insurance was going to cover it. I said, that was not your job to determine who paid for it. Your job was to give me the referrals that I need so I could get the tests that I needed. I said, however it gets paid for is between me and the insurance company. That has nothing to do with you. I was like, you're only required to write the orders for the tests that I need. And so he's still screaming and yelling at me. And I got angry back and I told him, I said, you didn't do your job. You didn't do your job. And
Trabajo,
so,
man.
yeah, he's still mad. He's yelling. He's like freaking out. And I told him, I said, you know what? I personally don't care which one of us leaves this room today, if it's on a stretcher or in handcuffs.
Tú
But if
eres
you
muy
don't,
estúpido. You should have just told him
I
that.
said, if you don't give me the referrals I need to get these tests done that I need, I said, one of us is either leaving here in handcuffs or stretcher, and I don't care which one of us it is.
Yep. And then say, de nada. You're
And
welcome. Be here
he
all
was
day.
so angry. So he fills out the referrals for the tests that I needed, which I had to figure out which tests I needed and ask for them, and he wouldn't give them to me. So I had to go through all of this. So he gives me the referrals. I left from there. I called. I set up I scheduled to have the test done. So I go the next week, I get the test done, and I called back to the office and I said, okay, I have these tests done. I need somebody to view them with me. She's like, Miss Nelson, he refuses to see you again.
Hmm.
I said, you know what? I said, that's fine. Because I was going to face him. I didn't care because I knew I was right and I wasn't backing down.
Good
And
girl.
she's like, so she said, I said to her, I was like, well, somebody in the office needs to review these results with me. You have other doctors in there. She's like, okay, well, I'll set you up with this man. So she sets me up with Dr. F. And so I go
I know
in
what
to
that stands for.
no, that was the good guy I had for 13 years. But
Okay.
anyway, so I go in there and he comes into the room to review these results. Well, he was the doctor that did the test at the hospital that I had. And he looked like a mad scientist, right? So I was like, oh, okay, it's this guy. So anyway, he goes over the test with me. He asked me, have they done this test on you? Have they checked your kidneys? Have they checked your lungs? Have they checked this? Have they checked that? I was like, I have no idea. He's like, okay, I'm going to call your rheumatologist. I'm going to call your neurologist. And so he's in and out of the room. He's checking to see. He calls the imaging center. Do you have this equipment so I can get these tests done on this woman? Okay, you don't have it. I'm going to call the hospital. Call the hospital. Oh my God. I was there 7 hours that day. And when I left, I had a huge bag full of samples that he just dug all this stuff out of the closet and gave me a whole bag of samples. And so I'm checking out and I'm leaving. And the receptionist says, I'm in tears because I never had a doctor treat me so good. And she's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, but I was like, who was that guy? And she's
Never
like,
had anyone treat me
"Ooh."
so good,
I
especially
said,
like that.
she's like, isn't he wonderful? I was like, yeah. It's like, I wish he was my doctor. She's like, I'm going to fix that for you. And so he became my doctor that day. From that day forward, I had him for 13 years. Okay, not long after, within a couple of months after I got him as my doctor and the confrontation with the other Dr. C, all of a sudden Dr. C is gone. I have no idea what happened. So I asked somebody, I was like, what happened to him? Oh, he branched out on his own. I was like, oh, okay. So several months go by. I'm driving into town and I see this building that says, Dr. C, now welcoming new patients. I was like, oh, okay. So now he's branched out on his own. So I'm just looking, thinking, what a jerk, what a jerk. Years of putting up with his crap. So anyway, I'm seeing Dr. F still. Had him, like I said, 13 years. Probably a year or so goes by. Every time I drive by the Dr. D's office, I look and there's never any cars in the parking lot. He has very few patients. So one day I'm driving down through there and I see on his kiosk out front, Dr. D, now accepting new patients and performing animal exams and giving pet vaccinations. I'm looking at the sign. I'm like, how can he do that in the same facility? I'm scratching my head. I'm
I'm
like,
laughing
okay.
because I can't type. My keys
And
are
I'm like,
bad. Sorry.
how can he actually have patients and animals in the same facility? And I was just like, what in the heck what the heck? I just blew me away. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, so time goes on, years go on. In the meantime, like I said, I was with Dr. F for 13 years. He leaves and I made an appointment. I said, okay, you're leaving. I need a replacement. So then I wind up with this guy I'm with now. I've had him for 7 years, Dr. C. So I go for my regular visit yesterday to see Dr. C. And I get there and it's my 10 o'clock appointment. I go to the door and the door's locked. And I'm like, why is the door locked? And I'm like, so I go back to my vehicle, I got my phone and I called the number. And this is the substation in the little town closer to me. I called, nobody answers the phone. Goes to voicemail. So I'm like, what is going on? I've never had this happen before. I've been here all these years, I've been with the actual facility, or just call it the good guys, for almost 23, 24 years. I've never had this happen. What's going on? So when I didn't get any answer at the substation, I went back and I called the primary office in the big city. I was like, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I have an appointment. I'm here. The door's locked and they're not answering the phone. She's like, okay, Miss Nelson. She's like, I'll call, figure out what's going on. I'll call you back. So I'm sitting in my car waiting for waiting for them to call me back. And I look up and I see my current doctor, Dr. C, walking down the sidewalk right in front of me. He didn't see me. He's just looking straight ahead. And he walks right past my vehicle. And I'm parked right in front of the door. And I'm like, well, damn, did they move and not tell me? So I get out and I follow him. He didn't know I was behind him. So he goes a few doors down and he goes into the room. And I'm like, oh, let me walk in here. So I opened the door, I went in, and the regular girls are in there. They're vacuuming the floor, trying to get ready for the day. And it's like, did you guys move like to a new building and didn't say anything? It's like, no, this has been our regular building always. I was like, okay, I'm really confused because I was just at another office a couple of doors down and the door was locked. And I was there and I saw Dr. C walk by and I walk in here and then I looked, I was like, yeah, this is the regular building. What happened down there? They said, oh, you didn't know? Dr. D, which I call him Dr. Butthead from the very first doctor that I had all the issues with,
I won't even go to
opened,
doctors. I don't trust them.
he opened his own facility in the same little subtown, two doors down from the doctor that I have now. Okay. Now, like I said, we're just going to call the name of their business the good guys, the good doctors. Okay. But get this, he named his business the exact same name, the good guys.
Not trying to make bank off of that now, are they?
And I'm like, what in the heck? How are you
Putting the holy
going
for
to
real.
how are you going to call yourself the same business name, open up a office 2 doors down from the one you worked at years ago and chose to leave and branch out on your own, but now you branched out on your own? And I was telling Lisa last night on the phone,
For
I'm
real.
like, I would have so freaked out if I got to his door and it had been unlocked and I'd have walked in there, signed myself in, not thinking, because again, it was an easy mistake. All the offices looked the same. And it said the good guys, and it had his name, Dr. D, on the door, but I wasn't
One's
thinking.
a
I just
limited
the good guy.
liability and one's a corporation, probably.
And I'm like, holy crap, how? Why? Why?
Wait, tell them about the dog watching.
I did tell him about the
I
other place.
mean, like, what the what?
Yeah, he was doing animal checkups and vaccinations at his other office in the big
How
city.
is this possible?
No. And
What the? Yes, I'm gonna go to the dog clinic to get a vaccination in my book talks real quick. Yeah, we're sharing. I mean, honestly, I would. I prefer animals over humans anyway. So, honest to goodness, I mean, you saw that kitten I held up earlier. That's a rescue, another rescue, because that's what I do. But I
told
would. But I
Lisa,
mean, how is that legal? I
I
guess,
know,
right?
I know. And and so one of my friends, I posted it out on Facebook like it's the funny of the day. So one of my local friends said, she said you can um how did she word it? Something is it's harder to become a veterinarian than it is a doctor.
It really
Okay.
is, though. I've heard that a million times. I actually have veterinarian friends that flat out say it is really much harder.
So
But
she's
I
like,
mean, this guy doesn't seem like he should
maybe he
be
has
bothering
dual
anyone,
licenses. And I was like, he still shouldn't be able to do it in the same building.
or shouldn't be with any human or animal. Is where I was, what I was kind of going with. I won't even. I've been treated so piss poorly by doctors and medical staff. I will. You will have to break both my arms, dismember me, everything to make me go back. Granted, whenever I had sepsis and pneumonia, when you're at a dying point, you don't really have a choice. But I mean, literally, like Candy's got a way with words, and there's something about Florida because she's not the only one I've heard that's been able to get doctors to listen in Florida. But honey, let me tell you, you go to Texas where they think that they're their own country. You ain't gonna get one doctor in this place to understand jack shite because well, everyone that lives here thinks that this is its own country, and if you're listening and you're from Texas, I'm probably not talking to you because you're wise enough to tune in and understand that there's more out there aside of that. But doctors, if you are listening, especially the CDC, because everybody knows, or most people should know at this point, which is also on the Illuminati card game, that you are part of it. And so, yeah, Center for Disease Control. Why would we ever need that? Where did disease come from? Where did those ticks on the island of Maine ever come from? Who was ever thinking they'd never get off that island when they could just clearly get on somebody's leg and walk away with the leg? I mean, you guys need to ask more questions. Sincerely, you
Yeah.
do.
I
So
told Lisa last night we were laughing so hard about that. And I was like,
she's,
how
yeah, it
in
was
the
I needed that laugh too. I was in tears. I've been in tears all week. And I
I
won't
was
even
like,
bother you guys with my burdens. I try to keep those inside.
I should crash his office one day and go in there and it's like, is there Dr. Doolittle in the house?
Hello, Dr. Pinky Winky, are you here? Hello, little boy. How are you?
Oh
Yeah,
my
no,
God.
I mean, honestly, we have to laugh though. So, and Cat, the mosquitoes, I have a whole video on the mosquitoes. I have videoed, captured, and it's bizarre. They're mechanical. They appear to be mechanical, but I mean, anyone that's denying anything, that just means you have been caught up in this systematic educational system or the television programming. You guys remember those words, program and system. Go ahead and Google that. You might not have to even fact check that one. It's probably going to give you the actual definition, and then you'll know exactly where you stand in life. Yeah, I'm being a little facetious, but
No,
honestly, it's a wake 'em up, right?
no, Joe, he's not an American doctor. His first name, Dr. Butthead's first name is Gore, Goar.
Dr. Butthead Gorge. Well, don't go to Texas though, Joe, and definitely don't sit 18 hours at the CDC like me and waiting and hoping and praying with tears streaming down your face that you're going to get any help at the CDC, Center for Disease Control, because you are not. In fact, you will just be taken away from your life, everything you know, even your young child that's with no father figure, just you as her only, guardian and loving mother. Like the only reason you live and breathe is for her. Yeah. They will take you away and they will keep you for 3 days, drag your ass right up to where you don't know how you got there, how you got in their clothes, how you even went to the bathroom. And that's a good question. Did you poop? Did you pee? Who did that for you? Where did they, who saw that? Who lifted your gown up? And who's medicating me all to at the end of the day, thinking you've been there for just a few minutes, tap, tap, tap. Hello, Lisa, Miss Hicks. Are you ready to go home? Well, yeah, my daughter's got a play tonight. I've never missed anything of hers. Oh, no, 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 no. You've been here 3 days. You've already done missed that. Who does that? And what kind of family member doesn't check on them? And then when you wake up, like, who do I call? Who loves me? Nobody loves me. Yes, Stacy, Dad, Mom, Michael, kids, all of you. I'm talking to you. I mention this all the time, and I won't stop until you wake your butts up because I was raised in a family that I thought was loving. So, Candy, I love you for making some noise because at least these doctors are listening. When you go to Texas, your family don't listen, your doctors don't listen, and most of us experience that no matter what state. Or, for instance, capping, she's in Canada, but I mean, I've got friends now in Australia, New Zealand, England, actually Germany, and recently in Greece, experiencing the same pain. So, y'all, if you're listening, don't give up. Hold on tight. Candy's a great inspiration, by the way. We can all learn to laugh, which is why I made my stupid puppet show videos in the first place, which that was what brought us together. But
Yeah, I
there's
was
no
like,
reason
oh,
to give up hope. You can't let the
she's
world
got to
break
be
you.
my friend. I got to find her.
Right? I mean, we can't let the world break us. And trust me, we got plenty of reasons to be broken. And Connie, I love you too, by the way. And Connie, I have, honestly, if you only knew what I've been through this week, the last 3 weeks, I haven't got a chance to look. I promise I will. And Sheila Renee, that woke me up at 6 a.m., I promise I'm going to call you back. But if you guys only knew that I got a story too. But Connie, I'm going to look. I'm going to check it out because I know, I mean, Connie sees some crazy stuff, y'all. So get on her channel, look. Um, the struggle's real. We all go, what I noticed is we all go through these stages, these things where we notice something might be in the room with you and you can see it. And then that kind of goes away. And then you kind of look in the sky and you're seeing things and that maybe goes away, maybe not. And then, I mean, all the supernatural, everything will occur. But what you'll also notice, and Connie, this goes for you too, is that it does kind of taper off. And Candy can vouch for this as well. You will still see it and know it's there, but you're going to come to this point in your life where, yep, the sun looks like a blinking light. It's doing stuff it shouldn't. And there is a Nibiru or wormwood or whatever. But I mean, it's obvious that if every other solar system has a second sun or planet or whatever, we have one too. So it is there. But what I want to say is you're not crazy. It is real. But you'll realize you'll come to a point where it will start just like the things in the trees, right? I see them all the time still, and I'll still post that. But you'll realize it's a psyop in a sense, but it's the devil's psyop, I guess. There's no other way to explain that. And then you'll get to a point where you're like, I'm going to convey this. I'm going to show it, but I'm only showing it because I want people to be aware of how real Satan is. And I know, Connie, that's what you're doing. And most of you are where you're at in life, but the struggle is real, guys. Whatever you're going through, it's a small piece of a gigantic puzzle, and your struggle is so real. I acknowledge it. I know. I believe. I know. I see. I know it. I see it. I know it. I believe it. You guys are with God. You can do all things. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ the Lord that strengthens me, and you can. You are powerful, and Connie, don't give them the power. Take your power. It's there. You're right. And I'm glad you're showing people because they do need to know. But just understand that sometimes what we see, the world can't see. Their eyes are blind to it. They call it an awakening for a reason. Their eyes are still closed. So, yeah, I can do that. Candy, my loves you so much. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go and get this little kitty fed. And does anyone want a little Siamese kitten? I will bring it to you if you're anywhere between Texas and Florida because I'm going that way in 2 weeks. I get to see my candy.
2 weeks. Oh my
Is
gosh.
it almost 2 weeks or is it? It's 3 weeks. Almost 3 weeks. It's
The
3 weeks.
19th. The 19th.
Yes. Well, we're getting close. All I know, and I will bring this kitten if you live anywhere between here in Texas and the coast of Florida, anywhere along that coastline, I'll bring you this kitty. And Connie, I know you were getting a kitty, so I don't know if you got your kitty, but if you didn't, this little hold on, I gotta show Connie this. Hold on.
Hey, I gotta ask you while you're doing that. What date are you headed back home from Florida?
Say
When
what?
what date are you leaving Florida?
Oh, the 23rd? No,
Okay.
22nd. Sorry, 21st. My bad. See, that's
21st?
eight. Um, I gotta look at a calendar and I don't have one right now. I know that we were supposed to be there the 16th through the it's like 5 days. We were supposed to be, right? So most of them will be there on the 16th. So like so the 22nd or 23rd.
Oh
All I
no.
know is I have a rental car right now after my car being destroyed, and the rental car's got to be back on the 22nd.
Oh
So
no. So I'm not gonna
what?
get there till like the 19th late.
No. My daughters don't get there till then. So 19th.
Oh,
Yeah, because my daughters fly out, and I got to have them. They're flying out of Destin, I think, or Destin. I think it's Destin that they fly out of, and they leave on the 22nd. I'm telling you what, I can't get the whole dates together. All I know is, so you'll be there on the 19th. Well, they're not there till the 19th, so that makes. I mean, that obviously is fine. It's a whole family reunion. The whole family that loves me so much. I'm so freaking lying through my teeth right now. We'll be
hey,
there. My two
and
aunts
your
who love me.
and your sidekick.
And my sidekick. Yes. Well, your family too. So you're the only one that's family. So yeah, it's most of us haven't seen each other for years and years and years. And Candy's going to be there too. So the point is like getting there around the same time. So I mean, this little kitty
Hey,
is something else. Let me tell
I
you,
might
he's
have to
no
get
friend.
I might have to get a motel for a couple more days and pay for your rental car for a couple of more days so we could just
Well,
spend the
no, I
time
mean, you
together.
don't need to do that because I mean, well, first of all, I think I have a room that I snore. I'm gonna snore so loud if we have to share a room. I'm gonna make sure of it. My girls told me I snore, so I don't know. But I mean, we're gonna hang out no matter what, and I don't have to be back like anytime soon because my girls are all flying out of Destin. So even if we should get a cheap motel, no hotel. That'd be cool. Just kidding, but no, that'd be funny though. But yeah, this little kid. I had to bottle feed this baby for like 3 days, and
Aw.
today, well, actually last night, I finally got him. He's a little boy, by the way, but finally got him to learn how to drink and eat in between my off time, like there's any of that. But Anyone want the baby? Connie. He's a
Adorable.
little boy. He's a Siamese. He's got blue eyes. He's a little dirty because he's learning how to eat, so he's got that whole messy face and chest going on. But yeah, Candy. No matter what, we will definitely don't worry about going back soon because I mean I'll look for any excuse to stay. So, but I'm gonna look at the calendar again because everything. I'm not gonna lie, I have mortgage brain first and foremost. But then I was in a car wreck where my car was totaled, and then I worked 16-hour days, and I have to write reports till the wee hours of the morning, and then totally do this video editing for those reports from the investigation. And then I try to keep up with the YouTube channel and do regular videos and podcasts. And so don't quote me on anything I say because I will not lie, I am semi mentally challenged every single day, and especially with the pain that my family can put me through sometimes. So, like I said, I don't usually share that part, and I won't because it wouldn't be worth it and won't help me heal anything. So, just gonna leave that bus right there, parked backwards in the parallel lot. So, anyways, all right, dear. Well, I love you guys, all of you. Candy, I love you. I will get to see you soon. Again, anyone looking for a kitty, just let me know. Anyone looking for a friend, just let me know. And don't ever like look for fellow YouTubers thinking that they'll be your friend because sometimes they will not. Sometimes they'll be mean and say your eyes are evil or freaky or you're reptilian. All sorts of mean things, which is heartbreaking because when you know you love the Lord so much, and just, I mean, my whole life I was teased right by that. But so I'm gonna sharpen my pencil in your eyeballs, just as a young child. That's what they told me in school. So, fellow YouTuber, you know who you are. That was really mean. It's really mean, but it's okay. I got more spunk in my trunk, so you can try all you want, but you'll never win. All right, I had to throw that one in there. So, but words do hurt. They do hurt. We all know that. All right, guys. Candy, I'm going to let you go. Guys, I'm going to let you go. I know I say that so much. And right now, I'm just, because I have this biting me. So, mainly that. So, yeah.
All right.
All right,
Well,
guys. Well, like I said, look for that guy that said that. You'll see the internet scrubbed out on it. But Candy and I can share so much more weirdness, but the world's already full of it, right? We're still going to share it anyway, though. So. All right, Candy, my love. I will talk to you soon. And y'all, I love you. See you
good night.
next week.
Yeah,
Or maybe
and you
sooner.
get a chance. You get a chance. Text me your leave date so I know what I'm doing. Okay.
You go ahead and ask my girls and everyone. I have asked them so many. I'm like, what were the days again? Then I forget. Like that's how mush my brain is. But I will. I had texted and said it on podcast one night, which was accurate. But then I'd have to go through all the videos, and being that I don't have enough hours in my day because I do it by myself. I'm gonna have to ask my sister or my kids again. But I'm pretty sure. Well, I know it was the 16th or the 21st, right? That's what I originally said.
Well, you
Yeah,
told me to come on the 19th.
23rd maybe. Wait.
You told me to come on the
Yeah,
19th.
because my girls are flying into New Orleans. So
Okay.
that's why it's the 19th. So yeah,
Okay.
they're going the 16th and then my girls fly into New Orleans. That's what it is. So the end date I don't really know, but I know the beginning date because it was the 16th, but my girls fly into New Orleans. Except for my youngest, she's flying not my youngest, next to the youngest, because she's going with my youngest. So she flies into here, but they're traveling together. So I don't have to pick them up, but I have to pick all the others up. But they fly to New Orleans and fly out of Destin. Like I said, I got so much to keep up with, and I'm an investigator. Oh, you got to fly here. You got to go to Summer, Washington. You got to go there, and then I'm supposed to remember the dates. Yeah, good luck with that. I can't even remember when to change my mind. Okay, so yeah, but I do know 19th is correct. That part's correct. So
Okay.
and then whether they're there or not, like I said, it's a family reunion. So yeah, I'm gonna give them those 2 days no matter what because
Yeah.
But you're my family, honey bunny. So
I know. I'm like, just don't want nobody getting jelly.
yeah, well, nobody would be jealous of
We
me.
cray cray. The
You with
cray
me.
cray
Nobody
sisters.
loves me but you. So my
You
family,
know,
they'd be like, not even know if
they
I'm
call
there.
them the cray cray sisters.
I love it. Yeah, Thelma and Louise. Here we go.
Right?
Yeah. No, my
All right.
family. I thought used to love me, but whatever. It's okay. Whatevs. All right, guys. Truthful though. Truth
Good
of all
night.
truths. Jesus loves you. God loves you. You have a journey, a destiny, and something big to do. So don't forget it.
Good night,
All right, guys.
everybody.